What is going on, guys? Chris here. Welcome back to another video. So I'm recording this on my day off. We just got done with the Smite World Championship weekend. We just got a bunch of information about the state of Smite 2, which is looking better than ever. We've been talking about this for a long time. I think we are in a fantastic place for me to now start talking about what I'd like to see from Smite 2. Not this year. I'd like for them to keep cooking on PvP. But let me just bring up basically a wish list type thing. So they announced Vulcan this weekend, and in doing so, they announced his +1. I've been telling my chat, I haven't been able to announce it, but I've been telling my chat for a long time that Vulcan's +1s are possibly my favorite things ever. And what you'll see here is you have a god-specific store, meaning you can buy different mods for your turret or for your kit, and it changes the way the kit works. Efficiency mod, you do not gain access to the thumper, but instead you get 10 CDR and everything, basically making your 1 and 3 better, right? Or you can, for the first set of levels, dual mod, you gain access to the thumper turret in your first consumable spot. It'll occupy that slot for the entire game, and then thumper has something that it does, and then every single level that you get, it gives you something new. Alternator mod, dual mod, efficiency mod, and then as you get like another set of levels, you'll get 3 more resonator mod. It gains HP. The thumper gains HP, the resonator mod does something differently, etc., etc., etc. Either way, you get the point, is that they added something in here that you can purchase upon getting levels, and immediately what that made me think of is something that I've been wanting from Smite for a long time, and that is a Smite PvE adventure mode similar to Path of Exile, Diablo-type dungeon scroller game, but with nothing changed. It is still the same characters that you already know, but if you just think about these god-specific modifiers, you could easily implement this, especially in UE5, and especially with how easily it seems that they've added something like this into the game. You could easily, in UE5 and with what they're cooking, make this into a skill tree type character design, right? To where they don't have to add in any stuff. They can just add in these mods, basically, that you get per level, make it into a tree similar to this is Diablo 2, but like you get it. Imagine if they added that thumper and that other things into a skill tree. Here's your first ability, right? Your second ability and your third ability, right? Your ult is probably going to be generally unchanged, but still you have Smite the way it looks now, right? You put these mods, or whatever you want to call them, skills, into a tree, and then as you get levels, right, you can invest into, a double turret Vulcan. You could invest into thumper Vulcan. You could invest into not in just doing more damage with your knockups and your ones and whatever, right? Because what it makes me think of back in the day, for those of you who weren't around during this, they had a Smite PvE adventure mode. It was the same game, same process, however, there was just levels built. The issue with why these didn't work is they were a very big cost investment, and they didn't get a lot of return on that investment. I think if they made PvP continued to be free, outside of the God Pack, obviously, but you could play it for free, and they made these cost money to where you had splits of ladders, where there was leaderboards, where there was different aspects of it, and you made it so the 6 items you built were then even just brought up similar to an inventory of, like, Path of Exile or Diablo, to where, like, you have a chest piece and they made items specifically for that, like rare items that you found from defeating bosses and mobs and stuff like that, right? And you just put these 6 items into a new UI type looking thing where you found chest pieces, you found helmets and whatnot that helped level up your character. Then you had skill trees to where you could then modify your abilities and the way they work, similar to how they've shown they could implement that into Smite, how it already exists. I think they could really develop a very fun PvE mode. And considering the thing about Smite 2 that sets it apart from other MOBAs is we have a very large casual player base. I do think the PvP and the competitive esport aspect is incredibly important to the health of Smite, but I also think that they could get major return on the investment for an adventure style mode like this that has splits. You have leaderboards, you have hardcore modes, right? Every act you then end up fighting mini bosses, like the Nemi. This wasn't the Nemi line. This was the boar, right? It would spawn boar nests. You'd have to defeat that. Somebody would have to tank it. People learned to try to be able to solo these things, right? You'd have to fight through this this area where you take damage if you're standing outside of the visible area range. You're fighting spiders that are coming out of the dark, etc., etc. These modes were incredibly fun. Incredibly fun, and it showed what they could do even on UE3, but it was a very large investment of their time, a very large investment of their resources, and they didn't really get much out of it. You go fast forward now to UE5 with them clearly showing that they have the capability of creating very simple mods to abilities that you as a player can change in game. It's not something they have to really change. They just have to put the framework for you to be able to invest in these mods. You take this system, this god-specific mod system that they've introduced with Vulcan and his +1s going into Smite 2, you implement that into a skill tree type thing, which allows you to level up past level 20. You can keep investing in it to where you can create builds, you can create characters who can solo it, you give us leaderboards and whatnot, and you put a cost on it. I don't know, 20 bucks? I don't know, 20 bucks every split, 10 bucks every split, whatever, right? And you just create new levels, new acts, and you allow us to play through this with leaderboards. Allows you to earn cosmetics that you can then bring and go show off in PvP. And I'm telling you, I think Smite 2 takes a team of 8 and allows them to cook that up every split with like a new act or a new set of things, with like a new set of items they've dropped in the game. Some new, you could even find set armor that is specific to the character you found. Whatever, right? I don't think, and again, I'm not a game dev, but I know when I talked to them before about this, the reason I pretty much got was there was a lot of investment into creating the levels and blah, 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 which I gotta assume is easier now that you have UE5 and they're cooking on UE5. I gotta imagine it's gonna get easier and easier. And they said the investment of the cost just wasn't offset with how much money they made off it. I think they could make fantastic amount of money if they made this cost money, right? There's sometimes where I want to get on. I want to play Smite today. I want to get levels. I want to get cosmetic. I want to do that, but I just like, you know, even just sometimes I don't feel like even playing ranked. I just want to get on, play some Smite with my friends. Getting on it, like me and my friends would get on just to play the adventure modes, right? And yeah, there was like the Smite car, and I know everyone talks about the Smite car, and there was like the Jingchen one. I get it, there was fun stuff, but I think if they made a Path of Exile / Diablo dungeon scroller, act by act, with items that are set up in a separate spot, like right here, UI, right, that has like helm, chest piece, gloves, boots, and you found items specific to, hey, it's going to give you some power, it's going to give you some movement speed, your gloves are going to give you some lifesteal and some whatever, right? And then you took this resonator mod, you took this god-specific mod section, you made skill tree, like you could invest in your one and just have your one do some cool stuff on Vulcan, right? Maybe you could fire it very quickly, maybe it applies a bleed effect, right? You could cook and add in some passives, whatever, right? You could adjust those, and then you created another type of adventure mode through here with hardcore modes, to where obviously hardcore on these type of games means if you die, hardcore modes means if you die, you can fight mobs of creeps, you know what I'm saying. And then you fight like end game bosses. Like even this video has 50,000 views. If you go look up Smite Adventures, you have Smite Adventures, Smite Adventure Mode. These 101,000 views, like these got a decent amount of views, 46,000 views. Duality's been making videos for a while. But yeah, that's a wish list. Let me know what you guys think down below. Will we ever get this? I don't know. This isn't something Hi-Rez should be focusing on, but when the second that they announced the Vulcan +1s, I was like, bro, if they can easily implement this to where like I have control over changing my kit in the middle of a game just by opting into mods, they could easily assign that to a skill tree, right? They could easily assign items to a new UI that is specific to a chest piece, to a helmet, build sets, find legendary items, blah, 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 blah. Use that progress you made in that split, or progress you made in that adventure mode, or progress you made in PvE, to then use some cosmetics in PvP to show you've achieved something cool outside of PvP, to where you could show it off while you continue to play PvP. If you're like, I beat the PvE mode, we achieved like #1 on the hardcore leaderboard, something, and you're like, I'm gonna go back to playing PvP for a few months. Even you could just get on, right? Conquest games are tilting me today. I'm just going to go do some PvE, right? Then you grind some PvE, like, oh, I'll go back to PvE. It'll just keep people on the game more. I think it could make a lot of money. I think it could be very fun. And the thing that I think that brings people to the game, aside from your friends telling you to come play PvP, I think what brings people to the game is the mythology aspect to it. And there's so many stories you could create by fighting through this that could coordinate with god releases and new gods. The next split could coordinate with like a different story they're trying to tell within the game, right? And I really think they genuinely have something in their hands that could create a new way to play these style of games where you don't just hop on, you play a barbarian or a necromancer, you can hop on, you can play Vulcan, and you can create a build around focusing on turrets and then pair that with another character and try and beat these things with your friend. I genuinely think they have a gold mine on their hand within the framework of UE5 and Smite that already exists in Smite 2. And again, I don't think they should focus on this more than PvP. I'm talking maybe this is 2026, 2027 type stuff. But I think with a, like, cook up some acts within these maps, let people play through it on their own, and let them use these mods to try to create different builds and find different items, legendary items, blah, 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 blah. I think they genuinely could find a new way for a lot of these casual players to play Smite in a way that can then help bring them revenue, fund more esports, I genuinely think this could cook. All right? And that's it. That's it, man. I just saw this. It made me want to make this video. I've talked about it for a while. I've probably brought it up to the Smite devs that, like, yo, once Smite 2 is cooking, if you want to try and take a shot at these adventure modes, I'm hoping as they get cooking with this, right? Oh, man. All right, I'm just going to keep rambling. All right, chat. You're not chat, you're YouTube, but, I just wanted to bring this to y'all. It's something I want in the game. I think it's something that could make high-res, a decent amount of, revenue and bring in some players and keep people playing the game when they're kind of bored of PvP, which I think relatively happens every so often. People, they don't really like the Conquest map, or maybe the metas are annoying. You know what? I'll just grind some PvE for a bit. We'll grind up this ladder. We'll cook up some stuff, and then, all right, some new gods are in, we'll head back to PvP. So rather than letting people take a break in other games, maybe they can just take a break in your game in a different mode, right? You know what I'm saying? Just cooking up some ideas, chat. Don't know. But if you guys enjoyed the video, thank you for all the support on YouTube. We've been getting pretty good growth here. We'll continue making content all year. Smite 2 has a pretty goddamn good future. Appreciate all the support on everything. Check me out. I'm live every day streaming Smite 2. You've probably seen me on Twitter getting yelled at by kids who just hate Smite 2. I'm going to stay there. I'm going to be there, pissing those people off probably for the rest of the year. I'll see you guys next video. Goodbye.